It is manifest also that all the component parts of prudence existed in their entirety in our Queen. The first is memory, which retains in the mind things already experienced in the past. From past experiences are drawn many rules for proceeding and acting in the present and in the future. Because prudence concerns itself with particular actions, and as there cannot be a general rule for all of them, it is necessary to draw special rules from many past examples and experiences stored up in the memory. Our sovereign was so endowed with it that she never experienced the natural defect of forgetfulness, for that which once she had understood and learnt was ever present and immovable in her memory. In regard to this blessing, most pure Mary transcended the whole human and even the angelic order, because God made her a summary of all that was most perfect in both of them. She contained in herself all the essential goodness of the human nature, and all that was most perfect and the farthest removed from blemish in the accidental qualities of man, and many of the natural and many of the supernatural gifts of the angelic nature she possessed by special privilege and in a higher degree than the angels themselves. One of these gifts was a fixed and constant memory, incapable of forgetting what she had learnt. In regard to her memory, she excelled the angels in the same proportion as she excelled them in the virtue of prudence. Only in one respect this blessing was limited in a mysterious manner by the humble purity of the most holy Mary. If the images of all things were to be fixed in the memory, it was unavoidable that also much that springs from the vileness and sinfulness of creatures should fill its sacred precincts. Therefore, the most humble and pure princess besought the Lord that the full gift of memory should not extend itself toward the preservation of these images, but only in so far as was necessary for the exercise of fraternal charity towards her neighbor, and for the practice of other virtues. The Most High granted this petition more in testimony of her most humble purity than on account of any danger to which these images could expose her. For the sun is not harmed by the impurities which it may shine upon, nor are the angels disturbed by our vileness, since to the pure all things are pure. But in this regard, the Lord of the angels wished to privilege his mother more than them. He wished to tolerate in her memory only those things which pertain to the highest sanctity, honesty, cleanliness, and the most amiable purity, and what was most pleasing to himself. Thus her most holy soul, in regard to these things, was without blemish, and her memory was adorned with the representations of all that is most pure and desirable. Another component part of the virtue of prudence is the intelligence which principally concerns itself with what is to be done in the present moment. It is a correct and profound understanding of the reasons and the principles according to which virtuous actions are to be performed. It reduces this understanding into action, not only in so far as to give a comprehensive knowledge of the excellence of virtue in general, but also in so far as to direct our activity in the proper channel for performing there and then each particular work in a virtuous and perfect manner. Thus, when I have a deep understanding of the precept, "Do nothing unto others what thou wishest not to be done unto thyself," I will at once know that I shall not do this or that particular injury, because it would seem a wrong if done to me or someone else. This kind of intelligence most Holy Mary possessed in so much the higher degree than all the rest of creatures, as she exceeded them in knowledge of the moral virtues, in profound penetration regarding infallible rectitude, and in participation of the divine righteousness. In the light of this intelligence, derived from the splendors of the divinity itself, there could be no deceit, no ignorance, no doubt, no mere opinions, as is the case with other creatures. For she understood and penetrated all the truths, both in their general and their particular bearings, and especially as far as their practical application in the matter of virtue is concerned, seeing them as they are in themselves. Thus it must be held that this part of prudence was hers in an unequaled fullness and plenitude. The third component part of prudence is called providence. It is the most important of all the parts of prudence, for in human actions it is most important that the present be well ordered toward the future, so that all things may be rightly adjusted. This is effected by providence. Our Lady and Queen practice this part of prudence in a degree even more excellent, if possible, than all the other parts of prudence. For besides the vivid memory of the past and the profound understanding of things present, she had an unerring knowledge and understanding of things to come, to which her providence extended itself. With this knowledge and infused science, she so arranged all happenings that they were a preparation for the future, and nothing could come upon her unawares or by surprise. All things were by her foreseen, considered, and weighed beforehand in the sanctuary of her mind, illumined by infused light. Thus, without a shade of doubt or uncertainty, such as is the lot of other men, she awaited the events before their arrival with unerring certitude, so that for all things she found a place, a time, and opportune circumstances, directing them all towards the good.